My name is Lauren Smith, and I am a grade 7 student at St. Dominic's School. I will be serving as one of the student MCs this morning. At this time, we would like to begin our ceremony. Please ensure all pagers and cell phones are turned to silent.
Good morning. My name is Luigi Doyle, and I am also a grade 7 student and will serve as co-MC for this morning's ceremony.
St. Dominic's School is committed to living our faith through our actions. As such, we would like to start today's ceremony with a prayer. This prayer encourages us to live for the good of others, and we believe that our actions here today reflect our commitment to that idea. We invite grade 7 student Naomi Henry to lead us in prayer.
Please join me in the sign of our faith. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God of justice and love, you created us in your own image and gave us the wonderful gift of life. You planted in our hearts the desire to love and be loved, and in your Son, Jesus, gave us the perfect example of how to live. Bless us with your grace and give us the strength and courage to live for the good of others rather than ourselves. May we always be open to hear your word as we learn to do good and seek justice in our world. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
We welcome all students, parents, and community members. A warm welcome is extended to the friends and family members of Corporal Nathan Cirillo, whom we honor today. To the Cirillo family, please accept these flowers on behalf of the students at St. Dominic's School. Brooke and Carolina will help kindergarten student Henry to present a bouquet of flowers. On behalf of the province and our Member of Provincial Parliament, the Minister of Labour, Kevin Flynn, grade 7 students Isabel and Sydney will present trillium pins to welcome and honor the family of Corporal Nathan Cirillo. Thank you to Carolina, Brooke, Henry, Isabel, and Sydney for welcoming our guests of honor. We also welcome our beloved local veterans, and we are grateful to see the support of various groups of dignitaries of the greater Oakville community. Today is a very special day. We will unveil the plaque to honor and remember Corporal Nathan Cirillo. Corporal Cirillo stepped up and chose to serve his country. He freely made the decision, as many thousands of Canadians have done before him, to serve and defend Canada with pride. He could have been our older brother, cousin, or friend. We, as young Canadians, can clearly connect to his love of country and family and his adorable dogs, Jagger, Maya, and Kaya.
At this time, we would like to thank the following people and community partners for their attendance and ongoing support of our fallen soldiers and the students of St. Dominic's School in their effort to honor our armed forces. First, we thank Mr. Mike Venzel, Mr. Ron Kirk, and Mr. Andy Barber, and Mr. Ken Lloyd, proud Canadians and retired members of our armed forces who shared their life with grade 7 students through oral history interviews last year. They continue to support the students of our community with their time and serve as a model of patriotism for us all. Mrs. Carol Mitchell, mother of the late Corporal Robert Mitchell, who served Canada in Afghanistan. Mrs. Mitchell's story of loss and pride in our country inspired the students to create the beautiful Veterans Garden that you see today. Mr. and Mrs. Norm Loberg, family related to Lieutenant Andrew Nuttall, who also served our country with distinction in Afghanistan. The students of St. Dominic's School continue to reach out to the families of our fallen soldiers from the Afghanistan conflict. Mr. Kevin Flynn, Member of Provincial Parliament for Oakville and Minister of Labour. Minister Flynn has been a strong supporter of our students in their many initiatives. Mr. Ralph Robinson, Town of Oakville Councillor for Ward 1. Councillor Robinson spearheaded the students' vision of a Veterans Garden on Bronte Road. And Mr. Sean O'Mara, also a councillor for Ward 1.
From the Halton Catholic District School Board, we welcome the Chair of the Board, Mrs. Jane Michael, and the Director of the Board, Ms. Paula Dawson. We also welcome current and past trustees from our school board, Mrs. Alice Ann LeMay, past chair and trustee for the Halton Catholic District School Board, and Mr. Anthony Quinn, current trustee with the school board. Ms. Kristen Courtney, owner of Access Abilities and organizer of the annual Oakville Veterans Appreciation Luncheon. Ms. Courtney is a strong supporter of our veterans, their families, and our students. Father Mike Anderson, pastor of St. Dominic Catholic Church. A special thanks to the town of Oakville and especially Mr. Chris Mark, Director of Parks and Open Space, for his ongoing support of our garden. We have several dignitaries in attendance who support our students' desire to honor Corporal Nathan Cirillo. We would like to welcome our Town of Oakville Councillor, Mr. Ralph Robinson, to say a few words.
Mrs. Cirillo and family, we are so honored to have you join with us this morning as we all join together and express gratitude and recognition of our hero, Corporal Nathan Cirillo, and the tomb of the unknown soldier. In 2010, the students of St. Dominic's recognized the need for understanding the heroism that our many Canadian soldiers played in the salvation of our freedom. In 2011, the St. Dominic's School family opened the Bronte Veteran Garden. We are so grateful that the Cirillo family graciously accepted the request from the St. Dominic's School family to allow these Oakville students to show their patriotism and their pride in our country as we continue with the Oakville recognition of our heroes. What a wonderful gift of pride the Cirillo family has given at this ceremony, that their son dedicated his life showing how he defended for his country. What the students are doing is very special, but what you, the Cirillo family, are giving us today is a very special gift. The St. Dominic students believe in the importance of recognizing our heroes of war and the gift of freedom. Mrs. Cirillo and her family have given the students and the town of Oakville a very special gift. by joining with us today as we remember Corporal Nathan Cirillo and the tomb of the unknown soldier. Thank you everyone for being here this morning.
Please welcome Mrs. Jane Michael, Chair of the Halton Catholic District School Board. Mrs. Michael will bring greetings from the board.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone today. What a beautiful day that we've had bestowed upon us. Veterans and members of the Canadian Armed Forces, family and friends of the late Corporal Nathan Cirillo, MPP Kevin Flynn, Councillors Ralph Robinson and Sean O'Mara, Father Anderson, students, parents, staff, trustees, honorable guests. I'm pleased to be here with you today, and I thank you for joining us on this very special occasion. As a school district, we value our community and the vibrant connections that we've made over the years. As we gather here today, we honor our community by paying tribute to the men and women who have valiantly served Canada. Our ceremony this morning is dedicated to the late Corporal Nathan Cirillo, a fallen soldier who embodied strength, bravery, and passion, serving as the ultimate guardian while watching over a sacred space in Canada. On behalf of the Halton Catholic District School Board, I would like to sincerely thank you all for joining us and for taking the time to honor Corporal Cirillo and for paying tribute to all veterans, past and present. As we gather here together, it is through these moments that we can reflect on the values that we share, developing a greater appreciation for those that have helped shape the wonderful country that we call home. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Michael. Representing the Royal Canadian Legion, Chris Vokes branch in Bronte, is Mr. Mike Bensel, who will say a few words of greeting.
Good morning, fellow veterans, politicians, especially the students and the Cirillo family. It's sad every time you hear of one of our armed forces members falls, especially in the line of duty, and the way that it happened at the tomb of the unknown soldier is very sad. But we must remember that we have armed forces personnel as I speak all over the world. Some will not return, which is also sad. But I want to speak to these students, the young ones here, ones behind me. My friend Danny and I were at the school on Tuesday telling the grade 7 students about our service, and we do that a lot because I'm educational director for the Friends of HMCS Haida, which is that World War II destroyer in Hamilton. Last year we did over 60 schools, and it's good to see that our young people are learning history. They have to learn from us because we lived it. Eventually they will be teaching history. Another 50 or 60 years down the road, they'll be standing here in front of a bunch of young students telling them what they did and of the day, especially today. And it's so appropriate to see the poppies behind me. Over 100 years ago, a man wrote a poem, "In Flanders fields the poppies grow." There they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bensel. We welcome Ms. Kristen Courtney, organizer of the Oakville Veterans Appreciation Luncheon, donor to the garden, and owner of Access Abilities, to say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning and welcome, veterans, other honored guests, Mr. McPhail, St. Dominic School, and a very special welcome to the Cirillo family. Thank you for the gift of Nathan. I am truly honored to be included in this very important ceremony to honor the life of our beloved Canadian hero, Corporal Nathan Cirillo. In this beautiful Veterans Memorial Garden, lovingly created by the students of St. Dominic's School, an award-winning garden. Thank you, students and all involved. Thank you, Mr. McPhail and students, for all that you do to honor our veterans and those who serve our country. This beautiful garden, the book you created to preserve the stories of some of our local veterans, is an admirable tribute. The beautiful letters that you send to the veterans, the families of our fallen soldiers, they mean so much. The hundreds of lovely cards and banners you make each year for our Veterans Appreciation Luncheon include heartfelt messages that mean a great deal to the veterans and their families. We also appreciate having the choir sing, and your principal and vice principal help serving the food. I just want to mention that any leftover cards or banners from the Veterans Luncheon are taken to veterans in long-term care homes who are no longer able to attend the luncheon. Once you do what you do to honor our veterans and those like our beloved Corporal Nathan Cirillo who have lost their lives in service to our country touches the lives of so many people, including me, and I encourage you all to keep up the great work that you do. What you do makes a tremendous difference. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Courtney.
At this time, we would like to call on Terrence of Vestry, who will speak us of the history of this garden.
Good morning. My name is Taryn, a grade 7 student at St. Dominic's School. Many of you may not know how this garden came to be, or how St. Dominic's students became so active in remembering our fallen men and women. The location of the Veterans Garden is significant, and that is located along the Halton Region's Veterans Highway. The creation of the garden came from the courage and compassion shown to the students by Miss Carol Mitchell. For the past several years, the grade 7 students of St. Dominic have created posters and letters of tribute to the families of our fallen soldiers. We started with a simple poster and letter addressed to the family of Corporal Robert James Mitchell, a soldier who gave his life in the cause of freedom in Afghanistan. Miss Carol Mitchell, Robert's mother, wrote back to the school, spoke to our students on the telephone, and later visited us to say thanks. The students were so moved to hear of the impact of their small gesture that they conceived a visible and lasting tribute to our veterans, our fallen men and women, and their families on the Halton Region Veteran Highway. The garden became a reality thanks to our donors, the town of Oakville, and the support of our local councillor, Mr. Ralph Robinson. Even Canada's Minister of National Defence, the Honourable Peter MacKay, heard about our garden and visited us in June 2012. Further, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, the Honourable David Onley, recognized the efforts of our grade 7 students by awarding us the 2012 Lieutenant Governor Ontario Heritage Award for Youth Achievement. As of today, we have plaques and benches dedicated to the soldiers who have served in a variety of conflicts. From World War II, we honored Private Paul Parkin. Also from World War II, we celebrated the life of Private Hartley Tosh. From the Afghanistan conflict, we have remembered Corporal Robert Mitchell, Oakville native, Colonel Jeff Parker, Trooper Mike Diab, and Private Blake Williamson. In the Cold War, we honored Mr. Rick Richards, past president of the Bronte Legion, who served in the Royal Canadian Air Force and is a proud supporter of this garden. Last year, on the anniversary of V-Day, which stands for Victory in Europe, which celebrated the end of World War II, we dedicated a plaque to the armed services personnel who never returned from Europe abroad, whose stories remain untold.
This garden could not have happened without the support of our community. The students of St. Dominic created partnerships with the Oakville community to make this garden a reality. We invite Naomi to thank our past donors for their generous support of our students, veterans, fallen soldiers, and their families.
This garden could not have happened without the support of our community. The students of St. Dominic created partnerships with the Oakville community to make this garden a reality. We My name is Naomi Henry, and I am pleased to share with you the importance of our past and present donors who made the garden possible. Without the support of our community partners, the students of St. Dominic's School would not have been able to achieve our goals of honoring our fallen men or women, our veterans and their families. We are very grateful that so many other proud Canadians stepped up and contributed to the Bronte Veterans Garden. Your donations are much appreciated. We would like to thank the following people and groups for their past and present support of our garden. The Town of Oakville and Chris Mark, Director of Parks and Open Spaces, the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 486, Prefer Electric Incorporations, Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association, Halton Unit, Access Abilities, the St. Dominic's School Community, and last but definitely not least, Ministry of Education through the Speak Up program for Student Voice. We now invite the inspiration for this garden, Mrs. Carol Mitchell, to say a few words on how the garden and the work of the students of St. Dominic's School have supported her.
You noticed she said a few words. Ask my friends, I never say a few words, but I'll really try. Well, my experience with St. Dominic started when the kids sent me a poster. Because it had to come through Ottawa, even though it was sent for November the 11th, I got it on the last day of the school year for St. Dominic's. And I was lucky enough to be able to get a hold of Mr. McPhail and the young man who sent the poster. And we decided that it would be nice to come and visit Oakville because they had honored us. So between Mr. McPhail and I came and told my son, or actually my story. The kids here were just marvelous. And every time I come, they give me another poster. I have a closet filled with posters. And I keep them. I don't know for how long. Sorry, guys. I think that was about 8 years ago, and every year I have received a poster and I've come for a dedication. And at the first time I came to the school and had told my story, they asked me to come back because they had decided, after talking about it, that they wanted to make a garden. And they really worked hard at it. Ralph's a hard man to deal with. And they had to put in all kinds of proposals, and the kids all did separate proposals, and they looked at them, and this is what they did. A lot of kids who were inspired and had a dream. And with that, and with the help of council, and with the Oakvillians, I call them, because I'm really actually from Owen Sound, but I feel more like an Oakville person when I'm here. In fact, I thought I'd join the school, but they only, they don't go up to my grade. And with all of that, this became a reality. And it really inspired me too, because when I came, I had a lot of grief. And when they made the garden, I knew then that my son was never, ever going to be forgotten. And I think that's what all of us, I think all of the mothers and all the wives and brothers and sisters want. They want their children, their spouses, to be remembered and to never be forgotten. And that's what you did for me. You allowed me to have a tangible place where my son is never going to be forgotten. And luckily, my son's plaque is on a tree, a living thing. He lives through that. And I feel so honored. You talk, I've heard everybody come up and say how our sons, how the Cirillos and the Mitchells and all of the fallen soldiers were so brave and so courageous and that they were heroes. In my heart, you're all heroes. You found a cause, you followed through, and you became a hero to me. I'll never forget St. Dominic's. And I thought to myself, I want to give back a little bit. And although I'm really trying to win the million, it hasn't happened yet, so I haven't got that resource. But I have myself as a resource. And the Department of Defense started in 2006 a program called HOPE. And HOPE is an acronym. Do you know what an acronym is? I didn't know either. It's a big word that says they make a word out of other words to represent it. So HOPE represents helping others by providing empathy. We aren't counselors and we aren't social workers. We just want to be there because grief can be a lonely journey. And you know, it helps to have support. And it helps to have the support of somebody who walked that same path that you're walking. And to be able to see that that other person got through to the other side. A new way of living. So I decided that I was going to join that. And I think that part of that was because of you guys. Because you're so brave. And you're so courageous in your beliefs. And I thought, my gosh, if they can do this, I need to do something too. So I joined HOPE. You know, I really enjoy giving back. So I know that you enjoy giving. And every time I see you, and I see you probably more than some of my relatives, I feel joy in my heart. And you know, when I see you guys in kindergarten, I think, wow, I have to keep coming to the school so I can see you when you get a little more grown up. And what grade are you? You're grade 7. How about these guys? Grade 3? 5? Oh, wow. See, now you are getting pretty tall. Soon you'll be taller than me, but I get to see these kids growing up, and I know that they're going to remember everyone who's in this garden, everyone who's given their life, and me, which helps too. You know, when I talk to other people about coming to Oakville, because I love Owen Sound, and actually, you won't ever believe it, but these are the Freedom Riders here, and they've adopted us. We've become part of them. I get to wear a jacket like they have. Yeah. One of them took me on a motorcycle ride. It told me why I want to stay alive and never do one again. So, you know, I have met so many wonderful people. I've met here. When I come back, I get to see all of you, the school board, Kristen, just everyone. And it enlightens my spirit because you are heroes. And where can you find a place where you have so many heroes in one city? I don't know. Thank you very much, guys, for having me every year, for letting me come and visit you. and for sharing yourselves with me. Because my children are gone, I get to see other children grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Mitchell. The morning of October 22nd, 2014 affected Canadians in many ways. We were shocked by the events that took place in Ottawa that morning. As young Canadians, we did not expect such serious acts of violence to take place so close to home. We prayed for the family of Corporal Nathan Cirillo and wished we could do something to show them how much we care. Thankfully, we are supported by our school and local community to express our sincere sympathy for your loss and to do something visible to honor your son and the nation's hero with a plaque in our Veterans Garden. Corporal Cirillo will be honored in our garden alongside other brave Canadians who defended our country during World War II, the Cold War, and Afghanistan. Corporal Cirillo took pride in defending the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. For those who are unfamiliar with the history and the purpose of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Grade 7 student Dylan Burns will explain the symbolic importance of what Cirillo was protecting. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dylan Burns, and today I'm going to be talking about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The Canadian Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is located before the National War Museum in Confederation Square in Canada's capital, Ottawa. The tomb was added to the War Memorial in 2000 and holds the remains of an unidentified soldier who died in France in World War I. At the request of the Royal Canadian Legion, the Canadian government became part of the project of creating a Tomb of the Unknown Soldier for Canada. One soldier was selected out of 1,603 graves of unidentified soldiers. The original headstone of the unknown soldier is the sole artifact and the focal point of Memorial Hall in the Canadian War Museum. The hall was designed in such a way that sunlight will only frame the headstone once a year on the 11th of November at 11 a.m. The tomb is intended to honor the approximately 116,000 Canadians who died in combat, as well as members of the Canadian Armed Forces who died or may die in all conflicts, past, present, or future. Since 2007, a pair of sentries from the ceremonial guard in a full-dress uniform and with unloaded weapons have been stationed at the tomb, on rotation from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Each morning, the first sentries are marched out with a duty bagpipe upon taking their posts. Sentries hold their posts for 1 hour before being replaced. Only minutes before the shift ended, shortly before 10 a.m. on October 22, 2014, a gunman armed with a rifle shot at the sentries on duty at the tomb. Corporal Nathan Cirillo, a Canadian soldier on ceremonial sentry duty, was shot. Corporal Nathan Cirillo was one of 3 sentries from the ceremonial guard posted at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. He, like all others who have stood sentry at the memorial, carried an unloaded firearm. Corporal Kyle Button and Corporal Brandon Stevenson, 2 other soldiers in sentry duty, attempted to stop the shooter, but they were shot at by him and forced to flee to the other side of the memorial. Then Corporal Anthony Wiseman tried to provide aid, but was attempted to get run over. The 3 soldiers then attended to Cirillo, along with bystanders. They applied first aid to Cirillo, attempting to resuscitate him, before paramedics arrived and took him to hospital. Corporal Nathan Cirillo, at 24, died later that morning in the hospital. We, the students of St. Dominic's School and citizens of Oakville, who live in a free and peaceful country, thanks to our soldiers such as Corporal Cirillo, we will always remember them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. When researching the life of Corporal Cirillo, we came across many things which help us to connect to him. Grade 8 student Savannah Arney will share her insights into the life of Corporal Cirillo.
Corporal Nathan Cirillo was born on December 23, 1989. He was born and raised in the city of Hamilton. He has a love for animals and his 3 dogs. He keeps a place for them in his heart. Corporal Cirillo also has a great respect and adore for all people, no matter their age, race, or gender. Since a young age, Corporal Cirillo has always wanted to join the army and serve for his country. But Nathan Cirillo wasn't also just a dedicated soldier. He was a dedicated father to his son Marcus. A quote from his cousin said, "He has a heart to behold. He would do anything for anybody. He loved his country. All he talked about was serving his country and making a change." This quote really affected me and empowered me because it's so rare to find people with that sort of passion in the world today. Corporal Cirillo is someone I strive to be like and someone I look up to because of his courage, dedication, and care in nature, not just towards people around him, but to people all over Canada and the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah. Melissa Aruda, a grade 8 student, will explain why it's important to honor the life of Corporal Nathan Cirillo.
We often hear that we honor soldiers for their great dedication and contribution to the freedoms and life we enjoy today. But most of us don't actually think about what this means. Soldiers are courageous men and women who saw a future and a better world in which to live. They wanted to play an active part in bringing peace and justice to Canada and to citizens in countries around the world if called on to do so. Knowing the consequences, they freely enrolled, knowing they may sacrifice themselves at a young age because their vision for the future was so strong. They fought and continue to fight for all that we have today. Imagine leaving everyone and everything you've ever loved. All men and women who wear the uniform of our armed forces take that risk. Firstly, we honor Corporal Nathan Cirillo because he freely offered himself to his country to protect us in peacetime and in wartime. In grades 7 and 8, our school has a focus on faith theme which guides our everyday lessons and activities. In grade 7, we studied what it means to have human dignity. Corporal Cirillo, by joining the Canadian Armed Forces, is an example of someone who made a good decision to protect the human dignity of people at home and abroad. He knew as a proud Canadian that we all have dignity that must be protected. We are all made in the image of God. He was a great example of someone who would defend the dignity of all persons from the moment he joined the Ardril and Sutherland Highlanders to his posting at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Wearing the uniform of the Canadian Forces signifies Corporal Cirillo's respect for the rights of all persons to live in a safe and peaceful world regardless of gender, religion, or nationality. Secondly, as grade 8 students, our focus on faith asks us how we can live in Christian life. Nathan Cirillo lived a Christian life because he showed love and compassion to everyone, especially those who really needed it. Canadian soldiers are trained to assist the poor and vulnerable. He was willing to risk his life for every single one of us here today, just as Jesus did. He showed unconditional love for everyone, whether he knew them or not. Finally, we should honor Corporal Cirillo and remember him in this garden, because as the next generation of young leaders in this country, we need role models to look up to. The plaque dedicated to Corporal Cirillo will inspire future generations to ask questions about whom he was and what he stood for. When future students and citizens see his plaque, his memory, ideas, and actions will carry on forever. That is why we honor Corporal Cirillo, Nathan Cirillo, in this beautiful garden today. We hope to plant a seed in the minds of our future citizens that when they see his name on our plaque, they will remember and try to emulate what Corporal Cirillo stood for. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. At this time, we would like to unveil the plaque dedicated to Corporal Nathan Cirillo. We invite the family of Corporal Nathan Cirillo, Councillor Ralph Robinson, Mr. Mike Bensel, Mr. Kevin Flynn, and Mrs. Jane Michael to help unveil the plaque. Please follow me.
We would like to invite Nicole, the sister of Corporal Nathan Cirillo, to say a few words.
On behalf of my family, I would like to express our complete gratitude towards honoring my brother, Corporal Nathan Cirillo. His dedication and sacrifice to Canada will always be remembered because of people like you. I know Nathan will feel humbled and honored about this presentation. When we were first approached With the request of the plaque in the garden, we were taken back, learning students were responsible for such a remarkable tribute. Please know that as a family suffering a loss, remembering a loved one is very important, and knowing there is a place for families to visit for years to come is comforting. Thank you, Mr. McPhail, and the students of St. Dominic's School for honoring and remembering the fallen soldiers of our wonderful country. Your patriotism and efforts are truly heartwarming. With young people like the students of St. Dominic's, our country's future is in good hands.
Thank you, Nicole. For the past several years, our local MPP has supported the efforts of St. Dominic students to reach out and make a difference in their community. He has attended every ceremony at this garden, reached out to the families of our fallen soldiers, and made a difference through his words and actions. We invite the Member of Provincial Parliament for Oakville and Minister of Labour, Mr. Kevin Flynn, to speak and make some concluding remarks.
Thank you. It is certainly a pleasure to be here this morning. And to the Freedom Riders, welcome to Oakville. I hope you had a wonderful ride in this morning. Most of us came by car or we walked. You came obviously in a very different way and added to the ceremony so much. Thanks and welcome to all of you for the invitation today, but especially a very, very warm welcome to the families of Nathan, of Andrew, and of Robert. And that's what we're really here about today, and it's so good to be here, to be able to pay tribute to the men and women who give and gave so much for our country, and that is also the other veterans that have joined us here today, and those people that are associated with the Bronte Legion. But this wouldn't happen, days like this simply wouldn't happen without the staff and the students at St. Dominic's School. And we take schools for granted, I think, in the town of Oakville and throughout the province of Ontario, but every so often a special school and a special teacher rises above that level of excellence we've come to expect. And that certainly is true with St. Dominic's School and certainly with Mr. John McPhail, the teacher that made all this happen. So let's really hear it for John. I'd really like to thank you for the dedication you've all displayed in creating a very special legacy for the men and the women who've served to protect the rights and freedoms that we've come to almost take for granted. The Bronte Veterans Garden behind me is a very special initiative. It's a place created by our youngest people to recognize and to honor our bravest people. Honoring our servicemen and women is a very humbling experience, and it should be. Today, we're reminded that the freedom and the peace that we enjoy in this province and in this country is only as a result of the sacrifices of the men and women in uniform and the families that support them. And that is people like Andrew, that's people like Robert, that's people like Nathan. There'll never be enough that we can say or we can do to thank them or to support them. And to the younger people here, as you grow up, you go through life, you'll find out that there's doers in this life and there's talkers in this life. Some people will talk about an awful lot of things, but a very few of us will step forward and we will actually do something. And when you put on the uniform of your country and you put your life on the line, there's not much more you can give. That's about as good as it gets. That's about as brave and as courageous as it gets. And they surely are an example to us all. And their example is really told in the stories and the voices that will be remembered in the Bronte Veterans Garden. Corporal Nathan Cirillo will be remembered. We just unveiled a beautiful plaque, and I can't wait for the rest of you to be able to see it. He's going to be remembered forever in this garden, in this community, and in communities like this right across this country. He's really going to be remembered in our hearts as someone that's an example to us all, someone that made a difference to his country by choosing to serve it in such an honorable way. His desire to help protect the tomb of the unknown soldier, a monument which honors all past and future lives lost in war, really speaks to the unwavering pride and the solidarity that he felt with his brothers and sisters who had served in past, current, and future conflicts. So I'm here this morning in a very humble way on behalf of Premier Kathleen Wynne, all the members of the Ontario Legislature from all three parties that represent you at Queen's Park, to thank St. Dominic's School for the ongoing efforts to commemorate those like Andrew and those like Robert and those like Nathan who chose to fight so bravely and continue that fight for our freedom. To the veterans and to the families who are here today of the servicemen and women, words simply cannot express the deepest gratitude we have for the sacrifices that you have made. But certainly I think if there's something that may suffice for the time being, I think if you look at the example set today by the young people, you realize that the sacrifices that have been made weren't made in vain when you see young people like this expressing their sympathy, expressing their empathy and their pride in such a profound way. So thank you all who've attended here today. I invite you all to go back and look at the plaque behind me. It is very, very fitting for such an incredible young man and such a proud Canadian. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Flynn. To conclude today's ceremony, the St. Dominic School Choir will lead us in singing O Canada. Please stand for our national anthem. You may be seated. This concludes today's ceremony. However, we will always remember Corporal Nathan Cirillo, and this garden will forever hold his memory for future generations to remember with reverence and pride. He chose to serve, and he did so with honor. To the Cirillo family, we hope that our small gesture will comfort you in knowing that we, the younger generation, will remember. Thank you, and have a good day.